Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Grief Angels podcast. We are back with yet another episode. I hope everybody's doing well. We are continuing the conversations around grief from things related to non-human death. And today we are continuing the conversation on divorce. So if you haven't watched our divorce episode, please go ahead and look at our channel on YouTube and Spotify and find the conversation. It's a very interesting conversation packed with a lot of details that are helpful for you. Today we're talking about after divorce, finding love after divorce. Is that possible? We will explore that. Are you able to put your heart back out there into the world to find love and maybe even another marriage? Yeah. So I'm joined by my lovely guest today, Wanjiru Mwangi, who will introduce herself. Wanjiru, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me on the podcast. My name is Wanjiru Mwangi. I am a HR practitioner, also a life coach, and I'm very glad to be here to talk about this amazing topic.
Karibu sana. Yeah. I was having my conversation with Faith Kishanga, who's a therapist, and we did the divorce chat together. But the thing that stood out even then was a lot of people don't talk about their divorces. Why?
Because, and I saw that it was really nice. I actually watched it. Divorce comes with shame, guilt, etc.
Yeah.
All things that it should really not carry. Yeah. And I like what Faith was talking about. So as you've said, I will invite your guests to go and listen to that podcast.
Yeah.
But what happens is the minute that you own your story, you take away the guilt and the shame.
Yeah.
And the minute that you realize that divorce does not define who you are, it's something that has happened to you.
Yeah.
Like so many things that will happen to you.
Yeah.
It's what you do about it that then determines how you deal with it.
Yeah. I like what you say, what you do about it. So let's then go to the question of how long after your divorce were you able to begin to talk about it? Was it immediately? Were you even able to talk about it? When did you start talking about it to people?
It's very interesting. So my friends will tell you that I am very real. I mean, for me, stuff will happen and I'll talk about it like, oh my goodness, I have really screwed up. I've messed up. ABCD happened. So I was married for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had dated this guy for 6 years. I met him when I was 19. So I had known him all my adult life.
That's
half my life.
That's a lot of time.
And from there, we had 3 children. And nobody gets married to get divorced.
100%.
So by the time you are separating with your best friend, somebody who was your best friend, your go-to and everything, your world is turned upside down.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. So how long after do you start talking about it? I think for me, it was immediately to my friends, my family. Like, oh my goodness, I'm going through ABCD. This is what I am doing to deal. And it was one of my darkest seasons of my life. And what I did decide to do is get up, dust off, move on, figure out what tools do I need, because I needed to be whole to be able to raise my amazing humans.
Yeah.
My kids whom I completely love. I realized if I don't deal with myself, if I don't deal with all the feelings that I'm going through,
if you don't take care of yourself,
then I will not be able to be the parent they needed.
Yeah. But I'm guessing that when that final decree paper comes and here it is, like, and I know divorce is not easy or quick. Sometimes it drags out forever. But when it does come, there's this finality of, now I can breathe, let me focus on myself. But I'm guessing that moment, Wanjiru is saying, we're never doing this again. Like, this is done. I'm never going, like, what was that? Like, now it's just me and my kids. Was that you?
Oh, 100%. I think it's most of us.
Yeah.
And when you get that paper, the decree absolute, much as you're waiting for it because you feel like you need to move on with your life, you get a mixture of feelings. It's like, oh, I can move on. And oh my goodness,
it's over. It's over.
So you will have many
mixed
feelings.
Emotions. Yeah.
So what was the question again?
The question is, were you actually there saying, I will never have
100%.
to go through this again?
I am protecting
never getting
myself.
married.
I was like,
not dating any. I don't want to see any men. Like, I'm done with men. Yeah.
Yes. Like now it's me and my children against the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a lot of us who say that because you're coming from a place of heart. Your world has been shattered.
Yeah.
It has been turned upside down.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what? I'm never doing this again. And it's so painful. You're like, there's no way I'm putting myself through this again.
Yeah.
Why would anybody put themselves through this?
And then you put yourself through it again.
Oh, yes.
How long after, though?
I think for me, it was a couple of years. But the thing is, 3 years leading up to my divorce, I had started doing therapy.
Yeah.
So just really finding myself because I was lost. I was kicking ass at work. but I was feeling like there was something that was not right.
Yeah.
So that journey with a therapist,
Yeah.
finding myself, I started hiking. I like the way they say when you see women hiking, something
Something is about to change.
But really, I cut my
Yeah.
dreadlocks. I had dreadlocks that I
You
had
had
for
dreadlocks?
12
Oh,
years. They were
my
so
goodness.
long.
I need to see
So
those pictures.
things were shifting.
Yeah.
I'll share with you a picture. Things were really shifting. So
Yeah.
I had already started walking a journey towards finding myself.
Mm.
So by the time it was coming, I had tools. I was not ready 100%, but I started a journey towards who am I?
Yeah.
What do I want in life? Finding myself. I used to blog, and I remember writing a blog article about having found Shiro, a girl that I left on a sidewalk 20 years before, because I had lost myself.
Yeah.
My identity was in my marriage,
Yeah.
etc.
Your Mrs. So-and-so, your Mama so-and-so.
Oh, yeah. So that journey kind of helped me, even as much as I was saying, I'll never do this again.
Yeah.
I focused internally. I focused inwards.
Yeah.
I just really, really focused my energies on finding myself.
Yeah.
I started enjoying spending time by myself.
Yeah.
Taking myself on dates.
That's nice.
Weird as it may sound.
That's really nice.
I would do that so much such that every Friday, if I'm not going out, my kids would ask me, Mommy, why are you not going out today?
Oh, for real?
And they knew I was going on my personal date.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down. I'm going to have a glass of wine. I'm going to journal. And so that, I started filling my cup and slowly finding my smile, slowly finding who I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a decision that now I'm out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But I'm hearing a lot of self-care.
Oh, yeah.
And choosing you.
Yeah.
Before anything else. Like whatever finds you will find you in this process of choosing yourself and taking care of yourself. And for you, saying taking care of yourself look like what? The solo dates, the hiking, therapy,
and journaling. Then I went, I really worked on my relationship with God.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole space, I had drifted away from God.
Yeah.
So it's finding God, finding me, working on myself. I lost a whole whooping 15 kgs during that period. I was at my fittest.
Okay.
And then really journaling and finding out who am I.
Yeah.
And of course, I did it here and there.
Yeah.
But that was just let's go for coffee and stuff like that. But my walls were very high because I still had this resolve of I'm not doing this again. I am gonna find myself. I'm gonna work on myself.
Yeah.
And when you're not looking, is kind of when things find you.
Okay.
And when you start working on yourself, you become more attractive.
Okay.
Because you're self-assured.
You're
beautiful. You're confident.
Yeah.
No, beauty comes from within.
That's true.
So you're so confident.
That's
you're
true.
glowing. I remember my friends asking me, oh my goodness, who are you dating?
Are you dating someone?
Were you keeping secrets? And I'm like, I'm not dating
because they could see the
anyone.
happiness on your face. And it's a thing they hadn't seen in a very long time.
Even my kids. I remember my son telling me, Mommy, you look so happy.
Oh, that's really nice.
I know. And that kind of broke my heart because I didn't realize how unhappy I had been.
Yeah.
And it was so loud. It was showing.
They could see it.
I know. So just finding myself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have had that, yes, when a woman cuts her hair, things are about to drastically take a turn.
They are.
Yeah, but for the better, because then let's go to the walls that you just mentioned. And it's granted that when you've been through something that's that painful and that traumatic for you, you will put up defense walls.
Yeah.
But you also said when you're dating, so what is that dating life for you? Are you coming into it saying 100% we're not going anywhere, I'm just meeting you for coffee, or maybe let's see where this goes, but were you always very cautious? I would say.
Initially it was not even let's see where it's going. It was I'm doing this for fun.
Yeah.
There is no way it's going.
Yeah, it's not going. That's what it's clear.
It's not going.
Yeah.
So it was just for it's not going anywhere. I'm just having fun. Let's go. Let's have a drink. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Just more like friendship.
Yeah.
But there was you're protecting yourself because you do not want to get hurt. So you will not let anybody too close. You're not letting people see who you really are. So you're coming up with masks,
you're presenting what you want to present.
What you want to present, not the whole picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But are you also, sorry to interrupt you, are you also in your mind mentally ticking a box when you meet the person and saying, doesn't do this. Are you going through a box at this point to kind of help to say, that's why this is never going to go anywhere or not?
Yes and no. Yes and no. For me, I was not looking.
Yeah.
I didn't have boxes to tick.
Yeah.
Because I was not looking to date seriously at that particular point.
Yeah.
Until then I got to a level where I was like, okay, maybe I can do this thing. And this was after I met somebody. I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
So then in my head, I was like, what am I looking for? Now, this is serious.
Yeah.
So what would it take for me to even consider settling down with somebody?
Yeah.
And now I was like, this is my little checklist. Not tall, dark, and handsome.
Yeah. That one you did 20 years ago. You were like,
it was what is important to me now? What am I
100%.
looking for?
Yeah.
What is that thing
And
that
you've
will
just
make me even
rediscovered
consider?
Shiro. What will also
I
carry
know.
Shiro along?
And then
yeah?
you're bolder
Yeah.
because you also know what your non-negotiables are.
100%.
Yeah, which you didn't know 20 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
I was 25 when I was
You
getting
went
married.
into it and you're
I
like,
didn't even know who
God
I
will
was.
lead this thing. Love will take care of everything.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were you surprised when you fell in love?
Yes, and
Yeah.
in denial.
And in denial.
Yes.
Yeah, like
yeah.
you were fighting that.
Oh, yeah, like this
this
can't
can
happen.
be. Yeah.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think it's something that I had put at the back of my mind completely, and I
Yeah.
have focused on my career, bettering myself, my children, being a better sister, being a better friend.
Yeah.
I had, once you get divorced, you realize that your circle narrows. So I had
Narrows
my very
heavily.
little cute circle that I was very intentional with. So it was fine. And this comes along and I'm like, what am I even thinking about?
Mm-hmm.
And you start talking about the future and like, no, I have my children. Then I started saying, you know what? Much as I really like this guy, I'm never getting married until my last born goes to uni. Yes, so my last born was then 10.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, so
that's a whole
I have 10 years.
10
I even
years
had a
to
whole
wait. Yeah.
had a whole spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So he is in year 6.
It means
he was in year 5. So I'm never getting married. I'm not settling. I'm not getting a companion or whatever until my kids are gone.
Yeah.
Because I also had the fear of, how do I bring
somebody new into their lives now?
I know. What does that even look like? Yeah. So.
And nobody prepares you for these things. Nobody
no.
teaches you this stuff, especially around even blended families.
Because people don't talk about it authentically.
Yeah. That's true. Mm-hmm. That's true. Okay. So then how do you balance, you're falling in love with this guy and it's getting serious and serious, and you've gone over the denial part and say, okay, fine, maybe this is the one that I want to pursue. But then how do you balance that with not bringing the pain from the past and comparing then the guy you fall in love with or the current partner to your ex-husband?
That's an interesting one. I think for me, the fact that I had walked a journey and it is almost a never-ending journey. So you can't say I've healed 100%, I'm good. Maybe there are people who heal fully, but you'll find that every so often you'll find a trigger, something that will be like, oh my goodness, no, that. But you have to work on yourself such that you get to a level of healing, that you're looking at this person as him, not as a comparison of he needs not to do A, B, C, D, or he needs to do A, B, C, D so it can work. So it helped that my partner also had done therapy. He had done divorce care. I had done divorce care separately. He was working on himself. He was doing therapy. Then we agreed before we take this any further, we're going to do joint therapy.
Okay.
So I remember a counselor telling us, but you guys have to package. Oh, we went through a whole journey of what traditions did you have in your previous life, previous marriage or whatever. What did you used to do? What did you not like about that other person? Then close that window. Now,
that's a whole,
you have to realize that you two are individuals who want to start something. So you cannot build it on the basis of you used to do or you used to do.
We used to do this, or we never have to continue doing this.
Oh, yeah. And that's a very interesting blend that people don't talk about because you're building a whole new thing. So it's starting on a whole new white paper, plain paper is, these are our values. This is what we intend to build our family, our relationship, our marriage, or for our friendship on. So defining that and knowing that it's not going to be based on she used to cook for me a certain kind of food, or he used to do ABCD. So it's us. What's our expectation of each other? So it's starting afresh. But it's easier said than done. Because if you have not reached a level of healing, there's still going to be triggers. It's going to do something that'll be like, will make you want to go back into your shell.
Or run and turn the other and just run away and never come back.
I know. Or it makes you almost unapproachable because you have these walls of... So it's a very intentional journey.
But we keep going back to self-care.
Oh, yeah.
Rediscovering yourself, loving yourself, and then things find you.
Not just loving yourself, it's getting to a level of knowing that you're enough.
Yeah, okay.
You're enough just the way you are. And you don't even need anybody else to make you whole.
Yeah.
Once you get to that level, you realize that when you get somebody else, they're not coming because you're lonely.
Yeah.
They're not coming to fill a void that you have.
Yeah.
They're not coming to make you wholer. You're already whole.
Okay.
And when you meet a person who knows they're whole, you're whole, you're two individuals who are coming to complement and fill each other.
Yeah.
So that becomes a beautiful thing.
Okay. I hadn't even thought about it that way because if you remember when you were getting married the first time, it's just you. There's no children. It's just you and the guy. You're younger. You have this whole optimism for the future and what it could hold. To now, many years later, going through that again, yet it's again, yes, two individuals, but then now there are kids on this side.
Yeah.
The kids on this side. There's things that we need to think about. I know love was leading in the other one, but are we now leading with more maturity, but also more logic?
Yes.
And also love.
Love is good
love
because
is still there,
because it also love. Yeah, go.
But there's more maturity and logic and conversations that are important for us to proceed. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. There's actually a statistic that shows that second marriages have a higher chance of failing than first marriages.
What? I thought you were going to say the opposite, that they have a higher chance of success.
I can't remember the exact percentage, but was it a crazy 70% or something?
Yeah.
Because of what we've just talked about. You've not healed, you've brought baggage. Then you have brought in children, and it's how do we blend this whole thing?
Yeah.
Your whole package, I'm a package. How does this look like? And that's why it's very important for people to actually find a support system.
Yeah.
In this case, family, friends.
Yeah.
A therapist. Please go for therapy.
Therapy is important.
Very, very important. And or a life coach, like myself.
Yes. 100%.
Anyway, just find out, how do we build this whole new thing? Because you're coming with children who have been raised and nurtured in a different environment. There's a guy here who is a grown human and a woman who is grown. They have their values. They're set in their ways. They have their traditions. They have the way they do things. How do you make it work?
Yeah.
It's a thing.
But you have to be very intentional.
Oh, you have to be very intentional.
And I think the intentionality then comes from one, not because you know what you went through the first time and you come through divorce and you're like, you're not blaming the other person or blaming yourself. You see for yourself, and therapy helps you to see what was your part in it. So now wanting to do it better because you know what you did in the first one.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more intentionality here if you allow yourself to be open and to be vulnerable with the person, right?
It also helps when you're good friends.
Yeah.
Because when you're friends with your partner, then you can talk about things. You can talk about the challenges because they're going to be challenges. And it's hard. It's not easy. You're blending.
Yeah, but that's what I'm not seeing the dating part, because how am I able to share what I went through in my divorce in a way that doesn't then make you think that I'm the problem, then you run.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I think you need to get to a level of acceptance. And you see, it's like what I'm saying. You're not looking, you're okay, I'm enough. So it's easy for me to be real and authentic and go like, okay, this is a situation. Because people will ask you, what happened? Like in my case, we looked really happy. We looked like a perfect couple. Like, oh my goodness, what happened? I'd be like, yeah.
Okay.
And you reflect and go like, okay, this is where the drift started.
Yeah.
This is what I did. This is what he did. This is what maybe we would have done differently. Yeah. And you're older, you're maturer.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting into it, and marriage doesn't have a manual.
It really doesn't.
You're getting into it and you have no
It's
idea.
one day at a time. Let's talk. Like
people just winging it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But what I realized, there's power in talking about stuff. Okay. Even your second marriage, don't necessarily have to be a therapist, but somebody you can be able to talk to openly about challenges. Not, I am going through this with my husband. It's, we are facing ABCD. How do we deal with this?
Navigate this.
Because there are tools, you need tools.
Yeah.
Marriage is a very important union, and yet we get into it
without the tools.
Nothing. We are so ill-equipped.
That's true. You actually just figure it out as you go.
Oh, yeah.
And it's tough. It can be tough.
It's not easy.
How do you address, I think we've answered this a little bit, but how do you address fears of commitment, or what if it doesn't work out again? How do you address that fear?
I think for me, it was like, you know what? What if it works out?
Oh.
Yeah. So a lot of people tell me, Shiro, you're so most of my friends and my family call me Shiro. Shiro, you're so brave.
You really are.
The things that you do. And I'm like, no, by the way, it might not be, maybe I'm brave, but I do it afraid. I'll feel the fear and I'll do it anyway. You get into a job. What if you get fired?
Actually, that's true.
So why don't you don't sign the contract, because you may get fired.
No, we will still take that job.
So I think for me, it's feel the fear and do it anyway. It's scary because it's a big deal. It's something that will affect your marriage and your life in a big way.
Yeah.
And it's scary. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Ask yourself, what if it works out? What if it's beautiful? What if I'm really happy? What if we're really happy?
When you think, what if it doesn't work out? What if it does?
I know,
is the question that you ask.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me find. So what advice would you give to somebody who's afraid to open their heart to love again?
I think first, don't be quick to look for love.
Yeah.
Don't let loneliness lead you into spaces of ending up with the wrong person. As I've just said, there's a very high rate of second marriage divorces.
Because of loneliness.
Oh, yeah. Because you're lonely and you're looking for somebody to maybe feel or make you feel like you're worth it.
Yeah.
You're worthy. Because you come from a space where you're feeling rejected. You feel unwanted.
Yeah.
Now, when you find somebody who just makes you feel good, you might just be oscillating towards him or her.
And it could be the wrong person, but they're giving you what you need in that moment.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, take your time. Just find yourself. Remind yourself that you're enough.
Yeah.
Whether you find love or not, first learn to love yourself. Because you teach the world how to love you.
Yeah.
You are the first and the perfect example of how you're going to be treated and how you're going to be loved.
Yeah.
So just work on yourself first.
Okay.
And
I have another question that I've just thought about. After having been with that one person and having married very young also, the dating world has changed.
Oh, yeah.
How did you navigate the new digital age of dating?
It is
and this is what people are doing out here nowadays, and that's not what you know. You're almost green in this particular whatever, because you just have been out for a very long time. So how did you navigate the dating in this current world that we live in?
It was hard. I remember I told you that I had tried to date those dates.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my goodness, it's so hard. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm done. Let me work on myself. It's me and my children. I think you need to be able to know what you're looking for starters.
Yeah.
If you're looking.
Yeah.
But most importantly, work on yourself.
Okay.
Imagine love kind of finds you. I know that sounds a bit weird, but it will find you. Okay. But anyway, you need to involve yourself in circles that
empower you.
Yeah. Places where you know you're going to meet like-minded people. Because I'm a bit of an introvert.
Yeah.
You can't sit in the house and hope to find love.
Yeah.
And you kind of need to put yourself in spaces that you know will help. Is it networking groups?
Yeah.
If you're a church person, is it church activities? Yeah. But divorce care, I've seen a lot of people, but they get married after divorce care and from divorce care itself. It's a program that people do after divorce. Yeah. So you just have to.
Divorce care is run by the churches, or
it's run by the church. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you need to know what you're looking for and know where it kind of is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's if you're looking, but actively don't.
But I'm also thinking, I mean, it helps if the person you're meeting also has gone through the same journey.
Oh, yeah.
So they're also coming at it knowing exactly what you're knowing, and they've been burnt like you have been. So they will be a little bit different, a little bit more considerate in this particular one, even if it's a new style of dating that we are not used to now. Final question from me before I ask you to give us your advice and take away from this. I don't think we can close the conversation without bringing in the kids.
Yeah.
How do you balance that then? Do you know that now there are children involved? Their father is still there, yes. You've met this person, probably has kids of his own. Probably the mother is also still there. How do you balance that blended family in a way that also supports your new marriage now? Because then I'm not saying it rests on the kids or the relationships around the kids, but it could also be a point of concern or a thorn in you, or whatever, if it's not addressed properly.
I think, if it's not addressed properly. I think, speaking again for myself, about myself, my kids are like the most important humans in my life.
100%.
And I remember recently my husband saying he has realized my kids are one of my love languages, because I truly am crazy about my kids. So I guess it's walking a journey with them. First, they need to know that you need to reassure them that their love is not being taken away. This person that's coming into the picture is not coming to replace their parent, their other parent. And this is kind of about you. You still love them. It's not, you're not bringing or forcing on them somebody. A mistake people make is you bring a guy and like, we need to call him dad. Yeah. Like, so let them walk a journey with them, and keep the routines of the things that you used to do as much as you realistically can. So like for me, I used to go on dates with my kids. Every single month I take my kids individual dates.
Oh,
Because
that's
again, you
really
find
nice.
that there are
There
three
are
of
three
them.
different
They're competing
personalities.
for
Yeah, your
even,
attention.
yeah.
Yeah.
So individual dates, as much as they can, we'll do a breakfast or a dinner together, all the four of us.
Yeah.
So try and keep that as much as you realistically can be
Yeah.
able to. Carve out time for them. It's a bit weird at the beginning because now there's a whole new human being who, again, has needs and everything. So again, that's where friendship comes in, because your partner also needs to understand, this is what is important for me. How will you support me be able to do this? And also him or her, how do you support them be able to maintain what they need to do with their children?
With their children,
Because if your partner is happy, and everybody, and most people love their children. Let me not say everybody, but most people
do.
love their children.
Yeah.
But if you're happy in that space, or as a parent,
Yeah.
then you're going to be able to bring more and better into the union. So encourage each other, support each other to present and show up as parents.
Yeah.
Better than even you have ever showed up before.
Yeah.
So carve out time, have your own date time, so you don't neglect yourselves as well.
Yeah.
And yeah,
okay.
I think it's getting married a second time is being so intentional.
Yeah.
And again, something that I have to say,
please,
when it's your children, you will not question whether they love you. You will not even second guess how you behave. But now you have other children.
Yeah.
Who are not your bio children. And they're also looking at you like, who do you think you are?
And they're also they don't to monitor you and how you relate with their parent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to
you're being assessed.
It's true.
In short.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. So you have to be really intentional and pray a lot about it and bring good intention.
Okay.
Yeah. Just bring your roho safi. Be of good intention.
I know.
And kids will say that. And if you love their parent and you treat their parent
well,
they'll also embrace you.
Okay.
Yeah. And also work on being their friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your kids and even the other ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Final words from you. What should people take away from this? Somebody who's going through a divorce right now, somebody who has been through divorce and they're saying, never again, I'm done. What would you want them to know?
I think for me, it's possible to find love again. Yeah. I did. And I think the end of a marriage or the end of a relationship does not mean that that's it. And love is beautiful. If you're like me, who believes in love, who believes in loving and just giving a lot of love, it is very, very possible to find love again. It's very, very possible to even get married again. But you have to ensure that you work on yourself, you heal, you have the tools that will set you up for success in the next phase of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Wanjiru, for being with us today. Yeah. It's very nice to have you here. That's it, folks, from our episode today. They say love is sweeter a second time round, but where do you put the scars from the first relationship? They also say once bitten, twice shy. But if you're out there and you're wondering how to rebuild your life after divorce or after your relationship has broken, I think this is the episode for you. Please watch it. I hope you learned something from us. And as always, see you next time. Bye.